You wake up tired. Not just physically tired, but mentally tired. Another day. Another performance. Another round of responsibilities waiting for you before you even get out of bed. You tell yourself it will get better soon. When the project ends. When the weekend finally comes. When the kids are older. When the bills are lighter. When life slows down. But be honest. Has it really ever slowed down? For most people between 25 and 65, life does not magically calm itself. It shifts. It evolves. One stress gets replaced by another. And somewhere along the way, happiness turns into something we postpone. Something we believe will arrive once the circumstances are right. Like a package delayed in the mail. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Happiness is not coming the way you think it is. Not because you are broken. Not because you are unlucky. But because you are waiting for it instead of building it. We were never taught that peace is a skill. We were never taught that resilience is trained the same way muscles are trained. We were taught to chase results, promotions, status, security, and we quietly assumed that joy would be included in the package. But look around. How many people have the house, the job title, the retirement plan, and still feel restless inside? The Stoics understood something thousands of years ago that modern psychology is now confirming through research. Your inner world determines your experience far more than your outer circumstances. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you have power over your mind, not outside events. And once you truly realize that, you find strength. Think about that for a moment. If your thoughts shape your emotional reality, then waiting for the world to change before you feel better is like waiting for the weather to change before you decide to breathe. Most of our thoughts run on autopilot. They are shaped by fear, past experiences, cultural expectations, and what neuroscientists call negativity bias. Your brain is wired to notice threats more than blessings. Thousands of years ago, that kept you alive. Today it keeps you anxious. You wake up and think, I will never get through this week. But is that a fact or is that fear talking? You think, nothing ever works out for me. But is that accurate, or are you filtering out every success and only remembering the failures? The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. And the moment you begin to question your thoughts instead of automatically believing them, something powerful happens. You create space. Space between stimulus and response. Space where choice lives. And that brings us to another uncomfortable realization. Motivation is unreliable. We wait to feel inspired before we take care of ourselves. We wait to feel energized before we exercise. We wait to feel calm before we meditate. But feelings are weather patterns. They change constantly. Discipline, on the other hand, does not negotiate with your mood. Discipline says, I will show up regardless. Research in behavioral psychology shows that habits reduce cognitive load. In simple terms, when something becomes routine, it requires less willpower. That is why structure is so powerful. A simple morning ritual, a short evening reflection, a daily walk. These are not dramatic changes. They are anchors. The Stoics practiced something called premeditation of adversity. They mentally prepared for difficulty before it arrived. Not to be negative, but to be ready. When you build small systems into your day, you stop being a victim of your emotions. You stop waiting to feel like it. You simply do it because that is who you are becoming. Another major shift is learning to focus only on what you can control. Epictetus taught that some things are up to us and some are not. Yet most of us spend enormous mental energy worrying about things completely outside our control. Other people's opinions, the economy, traffic, politics, the past, the future. Let me ask you something. How much of your stress this week came from something you could not directly control? Now ask yourself a better question. What is one small action within my control today? You cannot control whether someone criticizes you, but you can control how you respond. You cannot control the stock market, but you can control your spending habits. You cannot control aging, but you can control how you care for your body. When you redirect your energy toward what is actually within your power, you stop feeling helpless. You stop waiting for life to cooperate. You begin participating in it. Gratitude is another powerful tool that often gets dismissed as soft or sentimental. But neuroscience tells a different story. Studies on neuroplasticity show that consistent gratitude practice strengthens neural pathways associated with positive emotion and reduces the dominance of stress-related circuits. In practical terms, what you repeatedly focus on rewires your brain. If you only focus on what is missing, your brain becomes excellent at detecting lack. If you intentionally look for what is working, your brain becomes better at noticing stability and support. This is not about pretending everything is perfect. It is about refusing to ignore what is already good. The warmth of coffee in your hands, a text message from a friend, the simple fact that your heart has been beating for decades without you having to consciously manage it. Simplicity is another lost art in modern life. Many adults today are not just tired. They are overstimulated. Too many commitments, too many notifications, too many open tabs in the mind. The Stoics practiced voluntary simplicity, not because they hated comfort, but because they understood that excess drains clarity. Every unnecessary obligation costs energy. Every forced yes steals time from something meaningful. What would happen if you chose 3 priorities this week and let the rest fall away? What would your stress level look like if you stopped trying to impress people who are not even paying attention? Obstacles are another place where perspective changes everything. Most people interpret difficulty as proof that something is wrong. But the Stoics believe the obstacle is the path. Every challenge builds capacity. Every setback contains data. Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist who survived a concentration camp, wrote that everything can be taken from a person except the freedom to choose their response. That is not abstract philosophy. That is lived truth. When something hard happens, you can ask, why is this happening to me? Or you can ask, what is this teaching me? The second question gives you power. Evening reflection is a simple practice that closes the loop on your day. Instead of going to bed replaying regrets or worrying about tomorrow, you take 5 quiet minutes to review. What went well? What did I learn? What can I improve? This builds awareness without self-punishment. You also have to protect what enters your mind. Information is not neutral. The media you consume, the conversations you engage in, the accounts you follow, they shape your emotional baseline. If you start every morning with outrage and comparison, you flood your nervous system with stress before the day even begins. Guard your attention. It is one of your most valuable resources. Choosing small doses of discomfort also builds resilience. A cold shower, a tough workout, an honest conversation you have been avoiding. When you voluntarily step into discomfort, you teach yourself that you can handle more than you think. And finally, shift your focus outward. When you are stuck in your own head, problems feel heavier. But the moment you help someone, listen deeply, offer kindness, something shifts. Service interrupts self-obsession. It reminds you that you matter. Here is the bottom line. Happiness is not a future event. It is a daily construction project. It is built through thoughts you question, habits you repeat, perspectives you choose, and actions you take even when you do not feel like it. You do not have to master all of this overnight. In fact, you will not. But you can start with one shift, one practice. Today. Not next Monday. Not when things calm down. Today. Because your life is not waiting. It is happening. And the decision to build your own happiness is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is daily. It is deliberate. And it is completely within your reach.